Morning.
Good morning, Coach.
And with
Yes.
David Moore not here,
Do my best, Dave. Mark.
I love it. You take a seat. That's for sure.
Well, first of all, how does it feel not to be the biggest story in DFW?
How's it feel?
Yeah.
Very happy for the Rangers. No, that's what a great game, 5, 6, and 7. So excited for the World Series.
You guys have won 10 straight games at home. I mean, I know the Cowboys team won 11 straight since 91, 92 or something like that. What's been the key for your success at home and the importance of continuing that home field trend at this point?
Well, I think there's a number of things. I think number one, I mean, it starts with our fans. I mean, the environment that we're able to compete in. And hey, the opposing team likes to come to Dallas too, so it always creates a very, very competitive environment at AT&T. I think the biggest thing, for me is I do believe your preparation, your flow into the game helps you. And we've changed our home routine up a few times, and I feel like we're synced, and the players are in a good mode. This is our first noon game, so we got to make sure we're on top of that this week. But I think routine helps everybody, the fan base, the environment, and obviously the importance of winning at home.
Have you accentuated that before the next 6 at home? I don't know if you talked to Tim. Has that been a focus of the news this week?
I talked about it. I think we spoke on this at the beginning of the before the bye week. Is we break down the season each year, and we broke it down into trimesters this year. And the first four, the first trimester was 4 on the road, 2 at home, and obviously it flips here on the next 6 games. So yeah, we definitely want to take advantage of it. But there's characteristics, there's patterns, there's things that always, in my opinion, occur in September. So you address that coming out of training camp. More games are lost, in my opinion, in the National Football League in September than are won. So now that your productivity, your continuity, your consistency really has to take a big step here in this second trimester. So just all triggers you continue to push, and it gives you a chance to step back and look at the things you want to build off of, and the obvious ones that you need to do better. So, but yeah, I do believe that there are characteristics in patterns that follow September, October football into November.
Calvin.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. As you've gotten older as a coach, the appreciation for Matthew Stafford, has that grown as well?
No, absolutely. I mean, I was there when Matthew came into the league, and I can remember him playing through a separated shoulder. I've always been very impressed with him in his time in Detroit. I've competed a lot of games against him. He can make every throw in the book. He's tough. He'll stand in there. He'll take the hits to get the big throw off and so forth. And so, I've always admired his game from across the field. I think he's an exceptional passer.
Injury-wise, Wanye, will he do anything today?
Yes, we'll be full. Everybody will do something today.
Sai.
He's the athletic. Mike, I know the other day on the call you mentioned, you talk with Will and Jerry and stuff about, periodically about the trade stuff. But I'm curious from a player standpoint, do you talk to them at all about, what this time of year can be, and if they need to?
Only on an individual basis, and that's very rare. I think anytime, things that, those conversations from the personnel perspective in the personnel department are ongoing. I mean, we all understand there's a deadline, but yeah, so only if it becomes, something that I feel needs to be talked about.
And then when Trey was traded for, we talked about the timing of that and how tough it was with the season. If there is a mid-season acquisition, what kind of goes into making sure that player can get up to speed and stuff like that? Is that a consideration at this time?
Oh, it's not a distraction, or deterrent. Clearly, I think like anything, when you have change, you have a new member come into your team, and we had 4 guys today, that were introduced. So I think there's an all hands on deck, getting guys acclimated and so forth. So,
Patrick.
Hey, Mike. Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. As an NFL head coach, you're 11-5. You changed to 11-5 coming out of the bye week. For you, what's the biggest key in kind of getting your players reined back in after that off week and getting them refocused?
I think the first thing is the rest and recovery. Their ability to step away mentally, emotionally, which is probably the most important. And physically, it's good for all of them. I think just clearly the fact that we have a full roster available to practice. It shows you the physical benefits of a bye week. But this is a long year. With these men, the challenge of what they go through throughout the season, emotionally and mentally, it's a big deal. So I think this is, and I've always done the bye week the same. I've always given the players as much time off as I possibly could, because I do think it's important. And the other part of it too is your staff needs it. And our staff has done a really good job. We've done some extra things. The amount of work that the coaching staff, particularly the young assistants, put forth for the Cross the Hall segment on Monday. I mean, that's probably an extra 8 to 10 hours of work that on top of their normal schedule. So, it gives them a chance to step away too, but to work on those extra projects and so forth, because you have to grow your environment from an educational perspective, and particularly our young guys. It gives you a chance to really maybe get some extra time with those guys too. So, but yeah, the bye week, I mean, I can't recall the year. The year they had 2 of them, I thought that was, I know it didn't work with TV maybe, but I thought that was really good, because I think it's beneficial, and you kind of have that a little bit with the Thursday action that we have in November.
Mike.
You referred, Michael Gelkin, Dallas Morning News, you referenced it earlier, but when you turn over a quarter of your practice squad several weeks into the season, what can you detail that process of getting those guys up to speed?
Trusting your process, number one, is why you do it. But as they signed Tuesday, we were in game plan meetings, and the assistants stepped out to started that process. And but yeah, I mean, the first thing is the language. I mean, that's always the first hurdle that every player that comes in here you have to adjust, and then how you fit into the drills in the practice environment's the second thing, and then then the extra time. And you'll see guys working more at the end of the week on Fridays and Saturdays, as far as position coaches or the young assistant coaches. We have young guy meetings. We call it young guns and young guys meetings on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So our special team coaches meet with all the first and second year players at 7 a.m. on Fridays or Thursdays, and then we do the same thing, offense and defense, on Friday and Saturday. So we have some of those built-in time slots that are available for young players, and obviously anytime you have a new guy, he jumps in that group.
Babe.
Babe Loffenberg, Cowboys Radio. Mike, you talked about you found a routine that works for you for the home games. What have you changed up, or what have you found that works best for your team? A couple things. The opportunity to sleep in your own bed. That was a big change. And it's the irony of it is, the first place I worked at in Kansas City for Marty Schottenheimer, he was a big believer in that. So giving guys the opportunity to sleep at home, whether it's false confidence or but it's worked. So I mean, the numbers support the changes that we made and when we made them. So just at some team meetings, did some family stuff after the practice on Saturday. So just made it flow better, where guys can get into their routine. Because I have thresholds in everything we do as far as our scheduling, and I'm a big believer in a 24-hour time clock, a 48-hour time clock. So 24 hours before the game, all their physical activity is done. They're in the total. It's their mental and emotional time to get ready. And I think there has to be a switch or a stopping point, because as a young coach, and I was the total opposite as a quarterback coach. I mean, I was having quarterback meetings, 2 hours before the game to review the first 15, and I look back on it, and that wasn't the right thing to do. And then the Saturday night meetings got to be overwhelming, too long. So I've tried it the other way, is my point. So, and I know this works better. And the reality of it is, those extra meetings that I talked about, we just really pushed them into Friday and Saturday morning. So you're still getting it done. It's just a matter of when. And I think the longer these seasons get, particularly when you get into playoff runs year after year, you got to be really cognizant of that. And did you come to a realization that if you don't know it, 2 hours before the game, probably too late?
Yeah, I was young, ambitious.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Mike Puka Nacua, Rams 5th-round rookie, leads the NFL in catches.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him that's allowed him to come out to this success, and is there anyone that he reminds you of, given his early production?
Well, Magic Cooper, number one. I think you can see the carryover there in the training, you know, in how they play. But I tell you, I just been real impressed with his physicality, you know, especially for a young player, on just his play style is probably what jumps off the film most.
Yeah.
Jess Navarez, Pro Football Network. Coach, can you talk about now having Jaron Curse taking over that communication factor at the Green Dot and what you've seen him grow, especially in that aspect of his game?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, you know, we're fortunate enough to have, you know, someone like J.K. to take that over because, I mean, Leighton was exceptional at it, and J.K.'s done it before, and he is a very good communicator, and his football IQ, you know, I'd put up against anybody's. So we're fortunate enough to be in that space, you know, with the loss of Leighton. So, but yeah, I mean, he's, you know, he has an ability to play multiple positions and really has a clear understanding of our system.
Scholar.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. There's talk of diminished star power with the Rams, but Aaron Donald's still there. What do you see from that defense, and how is it maybe different from the
Well,
last?
I tell you, first thing is you watch the games. I mean, they're, you know, I understand the record 3-4, but they're in every game. I mean, you just watch the Pittsburgh game live, and you know what that came down to at the end there. So, but this is an active defense. I mean, they're aggressive. You know, they schematically are doing more than they were last year at this time, or you know, going out there last year when we played them. So, but yeah, he's still playing extremely high level. I mean, he still gets a lot of attention, you know, week in and week out. But yeah, this is going to be there's some similarities to, you know, their defense and in the Chargers. So you know we've had time to look at that and go back and look at some of the things that you know went on in the Charger game. But this is a good defense.
Clarence.
Piggybacking on that, I was going to ask you about Donald, but the offensive line, you know, 3 straight games together. You was talking about them gelling and how the step they can take.
Yeah, we need to take. We do definitely need to take a step. Just in it, and I think the biggest thing is just for them to get the continuity. I mean, these guys need to practice together, play together, and it's only going to get better, in my opinion, as we move forward.
Mike.
How do you feel your running back room and coaching staff having to adjust have responded to just Blasco not being in the room and just guys stepping up in that sense?
Yeah, definitely. I think number one, you know, Evan Harrington did a really nice job. Brian Schottenheimer was really the lead of you know, moving the job responsibility around. We had a number of our younger coaches really step up. Chase Hazlitt, you know, Ryan Feeder. I mean, all the way through, you know, L-Dub. So everybody, you know, kind of picked up for that, and we spread the responsibility around. Actually, Jeff is back. He came back on the bye week, so and you know you'll see him today at practice. So we're back to full strength.
Alrighty, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.